Live from KSAT 12. Good Morning San Antonio starts right now.
Happy Thursday, y'all. Good morning, and thanks so much for joining us. January the 16th, and we got a girl in the building. Patty Santos.
You always have a girl here. She's out doing family stuff today.
Yes.
Thanks for joining us this morning. Let's take a look outside. I was outside a little bit earlier. It is so cold.
Yeah, I was going to say.
It's winter. We know it, but it just feels so much colder today.
It is.
It's 39 degrees out there at 9 o'clock this morning.
Yeah, she's not kidding right there, Justin.
Yeah,
it was pretty nippy today.
Your senses are right, Patty. It was a little bit colder this morning, due in large part to the fact we had slightly clear skies. You know, we got rid of the clouds, so we did get down into the 30s this morning. But we're going to start to see temperatures build pretty quickly today. And in fact, it turns into a pretty nice afternoon. Let's go back outside for you. And I'll show you that we've got mostly clear skies right now, but that's the increase in temperature. We just jumped up 7 degrees from 39 to 46. 46 in New Braunfels, 45 in Converse, and 47 in Stinson. And I think Bernie continues to run a little cool, at least that reading does, but you get the general idea here. Our forecast today takes us up to around 64 for a high. We'll call it partly cloudy, but it'll be mostly those thin high clouds. And tomorrow's looking pretty nice too, but of course we're focused in on that strong cold front over the weekend. The cold air definitely sets in by Sunday. These are for sure things. The other for sure thing is that we're going to see temperatures get very cold Monday morning, probably in the 20s, a hard freeze possible here in San Antonio. Now, here's where things have changed. The models are kind of all over the place, and they're backing off the idea of wintry precip. I'll tell you that. But there's still a lot of uncertainty when it comes to the long-term forecast. And I'll be honest with you, I've been pulling my hair out over this stuff, but we're going to share with you what the latest details are when it comes to that forecast next week and what you can expect, temperature-wise especially, coming up in just a couple minutes, guys.
All right, out on the roadways, we are pretty peaceful. Of course, crash-free, which is great news at this time of the day. We do have several stalled vehicles that are out and about, so if you do see a vehicle pulled over, drive slow or try to move over so that you don't end up causing another wreck while they're stalled at that time. But again, if you're looking at your screen right now, I-35 Somerset Road traffic is moving along just fine. 35 on Laredo, you too doing good. Again, as we said, crash-free, let's keep it that way.
Well, this morning, local firefighters are asking everyone to be extra careful after a deadly string of fires.
So the third one actually this week happened at a home on Schley Avenue near I-37. I think you broke this yesterday. This is at South New Braunfels Avenue also. Fire taking the life of a 90-year-old man. Yeah,
firefighters are stressing safety when using things like space heaters, and especially watching out for your loved ones, especially the elderly.
Now, when it comes to fire safety, there are things that you can do to make sure you and your loved ones are prepared in case of a fire. For example, make sure your fire extinguisher is always ready to go. Here are a few simple steps that you can follow.
You can store the fire extinguisher in places like the kitchen, a garage. Check the dial on the pressure gauge, and it should always be within the green zone.
So again, check out the manufacturer date on your extinguisher. If it's older than 12 years, you should replace it. So we actually got one right here for you guys to check out. Again, what it all looks like. Check it out right here. We have a fire extinguisher to show up close. And you can see, again, they got the pressure gauge, which is right here in the green zone, which is good news. And it should always be within that green zone.
And you can see the manufacturing date. This is from 22. So if it's older than 12 years, you're going to need a new one. And we do want to remind you that fire extinguishers are designed to put out small fires. If you're unable to put it out with one of these, then you have to call 911 and get out of the house immediately.
So, of course, and always make sure that you have those working smoke detectors. We all know how they can save a life. They are under $15 in some places, but if you cannot afford one, the city has a program to provide those in need with one. Again, just call 311. That number is on your screen. And again, it's a great tip to have as well, especially having this on standby, the tips that goes into it. And again, to protect our elderly, we got to watch out for our families out there.
You always want to know how to become familiar with it, because in an emergency, you're not going to want to read the instructions.
Exactly.
So take a look at it if you have one at home.
Exactly.
All right, here's today's 9 at 9.
In California, the windy, flame-fanning weather has finally eased up. Firefighters are now making significant gains against the two massive wildfires burning around Los Angeles. A particularly dangerous situation. Red flag warning expired without causing explosive fire growth as feared. Those improved conditions should help fire crews make even more headway and allow residents to return to their neighborhoods to begin to rebuild.
Many people have turned to GoFundMe campaigns to get help after the devastating California wildfires, but that may result in reduced financial assistance from the Federal Emergency Management Agency. FEMA says that it cannot provide help with disaster needs if they've already been met by another source. Those other sources include insurance and donations to GoFundMe campaigns. More than $100 million has been raised for California wildfire victims on GoFundMe campaigns so far.
Changes could be coming to tobacco products. The Food and Drug Administration has proposed a limit on nicotine levels in items like cigarettes or cigars. Previous studies have shown that lower amounts of nicotine can help people smoke less and in some cases quit altogether. The proposal calls for a capping nicotine to 0.7 milligrams per gram. Comments from the public can be made over the next few months. Officials say the finalization process for the rule could take years to complete.
The Food and Drug Administration has banned the use of red dye number 3 in food, beverages, and ingested drugs. This comes more than 3 decades after scientists linked the dye to cancer in animals. Red dye number 3 is a synthetic color additive made from petroleum used to give foods and drinks a bright red color. Manufacturers using it in food have until January of 2027 to reformulate their products.
You may want to skip eating that bacon at breakfast. A new observational study suggests that not limiting how much red meat you can eat may be bad for your brain health. Researchers studied data from more than 133,000 people who were followed for more than 40 years. They found that those who ate at least 1/4 of a serving of processed red meat on a daily basis had a 13% higher chance of developing dementia compared to those who consume minimal amounts.
New data this morning from the Transportation Security Administration, or TSA, says that agents intercepted more than 6,000 guns last year. About 94% of those guns were loaded. When a TSA agent finds a weapon, local law enforcement is called, responding officers can cite, and in some jurisdictions arrest that person. The TSA can also issue its own fine of up to $15,000.
LinkedIn is using AI to help job seekers. Its new Job Match feature provides detailed summaries along with job listings, letting you know how qualified you are for a certain job. It also tries to understand your experience and whether it matches the job description.
This year's Australian Open live streams have a very different look. To avoid broadcast licensing conflicts, the tournament is putting animated overlays on some matches. But rather than looking humanish, the players look more like sports characters that you might see in video games.
With the controversial TikTok ban set to take effect Sunday, people who use the app are looking for alternatives. Many appear to be pushing aside security concerns with TikTok's ties to China by downloading one of the country's most popular apps. The Chinese app, Red Note, was the most downloaded free app in the U.S. Apple Store on Tuesday. It's a video sharing platform used by over 300 million people, most living in China where TikTok is not available. And that's today's 9 at 9. All right, it is 9:06 right now, guys. Still ahead on GMSA at 9.
If you're starting to run or getting back into running for the new year, we have some inspiration for you after the break. Stephanie Serna introduces you to our very own KSAT Promotions producer, Alyssa Medina, as she starts her postpartum running journey this year.
Welcome back. It is 9:10. It's a new year, and a lot of people are starting new running programs or just getting back into the running. This week, our Stephanie Serna has been speaking to a local sports medicine doctor about how to start running safely.
And today, she introduces us to Alyssa Medina. She's a promotions producer right here at KSAT who is starting her journey of running again after putting it on pause during her pregnancy. Take a look.
Alyssa Medina is going on her second week of training, and she tells us she's taking it slow.
Start outdoor run.
Focused on a 12-week training program specific to postpartum runners.
You're just getting into how's that been? You know, being a new mom and trying to balance work and trying to get back into running.
It's been a struggle. I used to just be able to just get up and go. I obviously can't do that anymore. I have to plan for childcare. And then, of course, physically, I'm totally starting over from scratch.
Alyssa is a new mom to a beautiful baby girl. So she tells us she's in a different place with running and training than she was last year.
I mean, before I found out I was pregnant, I was up to running 10 miles multiple times, and I was just a couple weeks out from the half marathon. And now I'm back at square one. We're running a mile today, and I'm struggling.
For now, Alyssa says she is staying focused on those running milestones that she accomplished the first time around while working to get there again.
Some people might just be thinking about starting or getting back into running. Being in the early stages, what advice would you give those people?
Definitely to take it slow. No matter what point in your journey you're on, it's you against you. And that is why I fell in love with running, because every day was just a new milestone that I could beat.
So in 2025, she's still chasing her original goal, but imagining a much sweeter finish.
My end goal is to run the half marathon. I was already signed up and ready to go, and I had my first doctor's appointment and kind of scared myself into not doing it when I found out I was pregnant, and just decided to rest. And now my goal is to cross the finish line with my new baby waiting for me at the finish line.
That, I can't tell you how much I love this. That is just such, not only inspiring, but again, Steph has hashtag goals. She was so controlled in her running, and it's good.
We're like catching her breath.
Exactly. It is great to see that she represents so many different people out there who wants to start this journey, and it's so great to watch it in action.
And I keep saying I'm going to do it when it's not so hot in the summer, and now that it's nice and cold, it's so cold.
I'm going to do it when it's warmer.
There's like 2 weeks out of the year you can really do it. Cute baby, by the way, too. That makes the story. Yeah, so you're right about it being cold out there this morning. We have temperatures in the 30s, but it's going to warm up nicely today. We're going to get a couple days here where it is going to be rather nice. But the drought monitor has come in this morning, and you know what? I was really hoping that we'd see some improvement thanks to that good rain. Remember that cold rain that we got? It helped a little, but not much. We're still in the extreme drought here around San Antonio, New Braunfels, Medina Lake, Hondo. So we still need a lot more rain in the forecast. And I'll tell you, in the extended forecast, there's not a lot. Okay, right now we've got a 20% chance Wednesday and Thursday. And I think those are still kind of question marks because the computer models are struggling with this upcoming pattern. And, you know, we've been talking a lot about the potential for maybe some wintry weather. I think that is very much in question, too. And we'll talk about that here in just a second. First, outside, 46 degrees at the airport, 46 in New Braunfels, 45 Converse, 47 in Stinson. There is a light breeze, but we are on the way up, and we're gaining some big chunks when it comes to temperatures here. We should be up around 64 this afternoon, and most of us, in fact, will be in the mid-60s. So it turns out to be a really nice Thursday. I'm going to fast forward now to Saturday. As I said, tomorrow's going to look pretty similar, a little warmer. Saturday is a transition day, though, and I want to show you the temperatures across the state because we'll have a front moving through. Now, it's not one of those fronts where it comes through and you flip a switch and it goes from hot to cold. It's going to be a more gradual situation here, but we will see the cold air starting to funnel south. 60 at best on Saturday as those temperatures start to tumble. And then as we get into Sunday, high of only 46. Most of Texas, at least North Texas, will be in the 30s, but that cool air will go all the way down to the valley. And this is kind of the first blast of cold air. It is going to get even colder as we get into Monday morning, and Monday and Tuesday will be cold too. So what about the MLK March? A lot of people headed out there. Know that it will start in the 20s on Monday morning. We'll probably be around 30 when the march gets started. At this point, we expect sunny skies. We're only getting up to about 37, though, and we've got a north wind to boot, so that means wind chill values will be in the 20s. I do think we'll start to see some cloud cover maybe late in the day, and as we look at the futurecast here, of course, this is the big question, right? Precipitation. Well, we have a little area of low pressure that is going to try to develop. The problem is it's moisture starved. So as we get into Tuesday morning, we remember yesterday we were talking about the chance for wintry mix. We can see this has really backed off in a big way. It's not too surprising considering, you know, again, there's not a lot of moisture to work with here. But it really has just kind of done an about face here. There is still a chance, I think, of some very light precipitation Tuesday morning. Temperatures may be cold enough to give us some wintry precip, but I just don't think it's going to have big impacts. So those of you hoping to miss school and all that sort of stuff, it's not looking that way. And I still think we could get some showers maybe Tuesday into Wednesday, depending on which model you're looking at here. But I think there's still a lot of uncertainty once you get past Monday, and that's just kind of the nature of some of these storm systems. So 68 tomorrow, 60 Saturday, 46 Sunday, as we said, probably near freezing Sunday morning, by the way. And then Monday is going to be one of our coldest days, down into the 30s after starting off at 26. And then we'll put in that 20% chance of a light mix Monday night, Tuesday morning. But stay tuned, because this could change again. Just not looking as promising as it once was.
I don't know what newscast my kids are watching. It's not this one, because they keep saying there's snow next week, Mom. I'm like, no, there isn't.
Well, see, and herein lies the issue. You're going to see a lot of this social media and TV. And you're going to hear a lot about it. But these things can and do change, and it will.
No.
Yeah.
Speaking of great changes, let's get over to SA Live, who, again, I can't believe that you guys are still in the building with us. You're no longer down the street, but you're down the hall from us in a beautiful studio.
You guys love the food being this close.
That's really what it's all about. Speaking of food, take a look at this. New York style cheesecake.
Yes,
we have
Lord.
Max and Louie's New York style diner on also Melvin's, because they are one now, right?
One and the same.
Which leads to our question today.
Okay, so we want to know, what food from your travels would you bring to San Antonio? Scan that QR code and let us know. But what about you guys? Anything, anywhere?
What food for your travels that you bring to San Antonio?
So I was blessed to go to Rome last year. And the food, the Italian food in general, is so incredible. Like the pasta, amazing.
Pasta in Rome.
Yes.
I'm intrigued. Actually. I need to see pictures, Justin.
Yes.
What about you, Patty?
You know what? I can't think of anything.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think, like, the California style burritos is just different. A little chunkier. There's something different about it.
Okay.
No, I will say from Arkansas, there is one sushi place in Jonesboro, Arkansas that I have never tasted anything better than it. It's called Hero, and it is magnificent. So that would be my choice to bring to SA.
They're making me hungry. I need to see pictures, guys.
Right. Wait till you see the spread we've got on this show from Max and Louie's New York Diner and Melvin's. Okay, so scan that QR code and weigh in, and you may see your answer in the show a little later.
Welcome back, 9:22. Tax season kicks off soon. Oil prices are going up again, and TikTok may get some extra TikTok on the clock to have some time to save before it bans.
I see what you did there.
I didn't. That was none but Ivan. That was smooth.
Well, Ivan Herrera is here with their consumer stories today. Good morning, Ivan. I like that.
Good morning.
TikTok.
Yes, it was me.
Smooth,
TikTok on the clock, because the party don't stop. Kesha. But first, let's talk about tax season, which kicks off in almost 2 weeks, not 2 weeks away, but almost 2 weeks, January 27th. So many people will likely be getting their W-2 form soon, so look out for that. Now, this year, the IRS Direct File program has expanded to 25 states, making tax filing quicker and easier for many. Now, new features include automatic data import from your IRS account and a chatbot to help guide eligibility. Now, Direct File now supports more tax credits, including the Child and Dependent Care Credit and Retirement Savings Contribution credits. Now, meanwhile, the IRS Free File program is open, letting qualified taxpayers file for free now, with returns processed starting January 27th, when the tax season starts. Now, to avoid scams, the IRS urges taxpayers to use trusted professionals and follow safe filing practices. Find more details on this story on KSAT.com. And U.S. oil prices are on the rise again. Yesterday, crude oil was up 3%, just shy of the $80 a barrel high that we haven't seen since August. Now, this spike is also impacting gas prices. AAA reports that the national average for a gallon of gas is $3.09, and that was on Wednesday, and that's up from 7 cents last month. The average here in San Antonio is $2.70 per gallon, and that was today. One big factor contributing to the rise in prices is the new sanctions on Russia's oil industry imposed by the outgoing President Biden last week. And TikTok may get a little bit more time to avoid a shutdown. The app faces a ban if it can't finalize a deal with an American buyer by Sunday. However, sources say that President-elect Trump, who wants back the ban, might extend the deadline to keep TikTok alive. Meanwhile, President Biden could step in at the last minute, or the Supreme Court could strike down the ban, though most indications suggest that the justices plan to uphold it. Now, for now, the ban still looms with no guarantees. A lot of people are switching over. I think you guys mentioned it in the 9 at 9 to that new Red Book. I think it was
Red Note.
One of those. I call it. Yeah, Red Note is what the producers say. So, Xiao Huangshu, I think, is what the actual name is.
How you forget Red Note and then you just say
so because I keep calling it that, but I'm not calling it Red Note. But it's a really cool little app that I actually started like checking it out. Yeah. It's very similar to TikTok, not identical, but it's a lot more friendly. I'll say that.
See, I'm gonna leave that in the kids' hands.
Yeah, we'll see what happens with the kids. But TikTok ban still on the books. We'll see if anything changes.
All right, thanks so much, Ivan.
9:25 right now, 46 degrees outside, is still ahead on GMSA at 9.
The FDA just banned red dye number 3 in food and drinks. This comes after decades of cancer concerns. How this affects your favorite treats.
All right, welcome back. It is 9:30. Now to the top stories this morning in the courtroom. An admission caught on camera. The jury saw it unfold in the murder trial of Mason Lubitz yesterday. Lubitz is accused of shooting his neighbor, 24-year-old Trevor Beeman, on Christmas 2021, and what Lubitz and his attorneys call an act of self-defense. In the video, Lubitz is heard yelling about Beeman as he turns himself into police. Jurors also saw the weapon used that day for the first time, which was a rifle found inside Lubitz's apartment. Now, there will be more testimony in this trial throughout the week and possibly into next week. We're going to bring you all of that coverage.
Governor Greg Abbott's office is trying to keep the price tag of billboards private. Last month, Governor Abbott launched the international campaign to try and stop illegal crossings. He estimates that it costs around $100,000. Now, KSAT investigators asked for the receipts, and so far the governor's office told us they have them, but they're asking the Attorney General if they have to release them. We'll let you know what happens.
As the country prepares to welcome President-elect Donald Trump back into the White House on Monday, the people of Eagle Pass paying very close attention to how the change in leadership will impact immigration and their bottom line.
That is one of the many things they discussed with KSAT when we visited the border town for our latest episode of Your Voice South Texas. Stefania Jimenez met with people at the Wheel Wagon, a wagon wheel. It's a popular barbecue restaurant. Some people told her they want changes along the border and the economy.
Used vehicle costs you almost as much as you would pay for a new one back then. So inflation, I've seen, the price of gas, the price of eggs, milk. It's ridiculous right now.
It's scary. Like several times we've had there where we live, like, hey, everybody stay inside your house because there's people going around trying to get into people's houses.
Eagle Pass is in Maverick County, which flipped from blue to red last November when it chose presidential candidate Donald Trump. Well, yeah, you can scan that QR code right there on your screen. You'll meet the people of Eagle Pass and hear their experiences for our latest episode of Your Voice South Texas. And again, it's also on our website.
Well, animal welfare has become a safety concern across our city. And now the new director for Animal Care Services is leading the charge.
Now, his name is Jonathan Gary. He's the department's new director. And over the last year, we've reported on multiple animal attacks and stray animals throughout the city. We spoke to Gary for the first time, and here's what he told our very own Avery Everett.
It is a community problem, and it's going to take a community solution.
After only a couple of days on the job, Jonathan Gary's message is clear.
The owners have to be responsible, and they have to be the ones to keep their pets confined.
Gary is the new director of San Antonio's Animal Care Services, and he says he's ready to rebuild a relationship with this community.
I want all eyes on us because that's the way that we're going to fix this problem.
Gary comes from Oklahoma City and started in San Antonio just 2 weeks ago. His first priority is learning our city. His second is connecting to it. Gary says he'll be focused on education and enforcement.
Our goal is to be a huge resource to our community, provide people with things that they need to be responsible pet owners.
How do we build buy-in for responsible pet ownership?
It's going to take the community to change this.
He addressed years of problems with aggressive animals in San Antonio, but he was quick to defend ACS when asked to address criticisms for response.
It really falls back on the owners to be responsible.
When we asked about staffing concerns, Gary says the city budget allowed for an expansion, and he's working to quickly fill any openings.
We're still hiring and bringing in new officers.
Gary's time just started in San Antonio, but he says he's taking animal welfare here one step at a time.
This isn't going to happen overnight. In a year from now, we're still going to have some struggles. We're still going to have a few issues. But if we're better now than we are today, then I can be okay with that.
A new director tasked to fix old problems. Avery Everett, KSAT 12 News.
All right, taking a look outside right now with our live cam. It's 9:33, 46 degrees out there. Beautiful blue skies out there.
Yeah, we can see some clouds there in the distance, but it's going to be a mostly sunny day. We're going to see temperatures warm up. It's going to be a great mid-January day for us. The sunrise this morning, solid. Take a look at this. This is from one of our KSAT Connect users who often turns in some great pictures, Skywatcher Oscar, and that is I believe it's a drone shot. It has to be, right, of the sunrise this morning. But man, those colors are incredible. It really was beautiful. And we should see an equally nice sunset. Pollen count. Now this is amazing. To be January 16th and have mountain cedar at 10, we will most definitely take it. Molds are low too. This is a good looking pollen count. Now we do get a front this weekend. North winds will kick in. So that probably means mountain cedar comes up. Let's enjoy this while it lasts. Forecast for today, up around 64 for a high. Again, partly cloudy and mostly sunny the rest of today. Then we look towards weekend and that cold air and what it means for our forecast next week, which has changed a little bit. We're going to tell you what those changes involve and what may happen as we get into the middle part of next week as well. That's coming up in just a couple minutes, guys.
All right, thanks, Justin. And before we take a look at TransGuide, the Pearl downtown is about to get some competition after the Broadway East development got approval for their very first design plan yesterday.
Developer's design plan was evaluated by the city's Historic Design and Review Commission. City office went over specific details like building materials, the height of the buildings, facades, and making sure the development fits into the current aesthetics of the area of the Government Hill neighborhood. So far, all thumbs up.
It's good. It fits in. It fits in. It's going to fit in with the Broadway.
The new development is slated to be just across 281 from the Pearl. We called shop companies several times to find out the names of prospective and confirmed retailers for Broadway East, but we have not heard them yet. But as soon as we do, of course, we're going to let you know what they are.
Out on our roadways right now as we speak. We're looking at 936, and again, guess what? We are currently crash free. We do have a bunch of stalled vehicles going on right now, but there is something I want to tell you guys about. There is some type of road debris that popped up on I-10 and Woodlawn Avenue. They have actually two main lanes blocked at this time. So if you're driving, please slow it down. I don't want to mess up your car running over that or anything like that. I-35 Laredo looking good. I-35 and Top of Wine still backed up a little bit. Earlier this morning, we were talking about how backed up it was because of some type of construction and then a crash happened. So if you guys are out and about on the roadways, please be safe. No crashes. Let's keep it that way. San Antonio Food Bank looking to Texas legislative sessions for help while the food bank serves more than 100,000 people every week. There are some things that they hope the Texas lawmakers can address.
Sarah Costa spoke with the food bank and clients about how they hope lawmakers can make a difference in their everyday lives.
Brenda Saucedo became a guardian to her two grandchildren, Austin and Alex, when their mother died. Her husband is a lineman, a salary just enough to cover their monthly expenses. She says they don't qualify for federal benefits. It's why she turned to the San Antonio Food Bank. Over the next few months, Brenda hopes state lawmakers can see some Texans are struggling to get by.
It's very important that these legislators and these politicians see that we're just a normal middle-class family trying to make it. And, you know, that take into consideration that there's other things that are taking out of our check.
Hey, everybody, thank you so much for coming and volunteering today and serving.
The San Antonio Food Bank hopes legislators pass bills this session to help families like Brenda's. The food bank CEO Eric Cooper says they have three main focuses.
Number one, streamline the SNAP application process at the state level.
To apply for federal SNAP benefits, applicants must go through the state's Health and Human Services Commission, a process that's supposed to take 30 days. But there have been backlogs in recent years.
That the legislature allows them to move to these programs like a streamlined eligibility process that makes it easier for Texans that are struggling. It can actually save the state potentially about $35 million.
To support the federal program that supplies lunches for children over the summer, the federal government granted access to a program for free lunches across all states, but last year, Texas didn't implement the program.
It's estimated to be about $450 million statewide that families that are needing access to nourish their kids didn't get last summer. Let's not deny them that resource this coming summer.
And 3, support Texans getting access to Medicaid.
They're choosing between paying those medical bills and buying food, and so if they have access to Medicaid, that'll help support that expense, and so that they'll have the resources to buy their own food.
Healthy fed Texans, something Brenda believes is our right.
There is no reason for any child in the United States to be hungry, especially Texas. No child should be hungry.
Sarah Acosta, KSAT 12 News.
All right, the FDA announced that they are banning the dye called Red 3 from the nation's food supply and drugs.
And the agency says this action comes after a study found that the dye caused cancer in lab rats. Red dye 3 can sometimes be found in some candies like Jelly Bellies, frosting, or strawberry milk, sprinkles, cakes, or even gums. It is a synthetic color additive made from petroleum used to give foods and drinks a bright red color. Manufacturers using it in food have until January 2027 to reformulate their products for ingested drugs. The deadline is a year later.
And the requirements also apply to food imported to the U.S. Some companies have already stopped using red dye number 3, while others have begun phasing it out. California banned it in October of 2023. I go back to early in the morning. You had me dying laughing, talking about what you give your kids and why you keep it away from the children.
Yeah.
And I never even thought about it like that.
Yeah, if you ever watch just what your kids consume and how weird they act after, I'm telling you, it's Red 40 for my kids. It makes them loony, it makes them emotional, and nobody ever believed me.
Well, go babysit them and then...
Don't babysit my kids. Don't give them Red 40. We want to say good morning to Bernie, Spring Branch. Your time right now, 9:40, 46 degrees out there. You're watching GMSA at 9.
If you're looking for something fun to do this weekend with the family, after the break, we got to look at some events happening around the Alamo City.
Good morning, welcome back. It is almost Friday, which means a lot of you are already making weekend plans.
But if you haven't made up your mind just yet, we have some events to tell you about happening in the Alamo City, and our very own Ivan Herrera is back to share some things to do this weekend. Good morning.
Good morning again. Lots to talk about this weekend. So we picked some great events for everybody to take part in. Some are even good for the start of the Dream Week, which is coming up. But let's start with Culinaria's Winter Restaurant Week, which returns this Saturday and runs through February 1st. Now, more than 100 restaurants will participate in this restaurant week, which is a biannual event. Restaurants will serve 3-course menus for brunch, lunch, and dinner throughout the city, and the prices vary between times of day, but they range from about $25 at brunch and up to $55 for dinner, with several options. Now, some of the restaurants include Box Street All Day, Avenida Brasil Steakhouse, Acenar Mexican Restaurant, and many more. You can visit KSAT.com for a list of those restaurants. A lot of them sound delicious. And Dream Week kicks off next week, but the We Are the One Day of Service is happening a few days ahead. The Alpha Kappa sorority will host a community plant and recycle event for their Day of Service at the Roseville Activity Center. Participants will receive an indoor plant and be able to safely and securely dispose of confidential documents. Now, this event is from 9 a.m. to noon this Saturday. And if you want to do a little local shopping this weekend, we have some markets to tell you about. Sundays at the Square are from 10:30 a.m. to 2:30 p.m. They feature a farmer's market with fresh produce, handmade goods, and other unique finds. That's at St. Paul Square in downtown. And Box Street All Day, which we mentioned a little earlier, is hosting a sip and shop market curated by the Texas Market. Now, this includes a local vendors, a live DJ, and brunch all in one place. Isn't that what everyone wants? That's this Sunday from 10 a.m. to 3 p.m. at Hemisphere. Lots of good food sounding things. I really want to try the restaurant week. I think it's like a good way of a trial way of getting into a restaurant. So I put one restaurant in there in particular, Avenida Brasil, which I really want to try.
Yes.
And it's those Brazilian steakhouses where they cut the meat for you and everything.
I've always wanted to try that.
I've always wanted an excuse to go to that.
Exactly. I've always wanted the money to go for that. So I think that's why this is a perfect opportunity, because if it's only going up to $55 and those are usually really expensive, I think that's a perfect time to go.
And we have that list on KSAT.com.
Yes, all those restaurants are on KSAT.com. It's 100 restaurants, so check it out. Thank y'all so much.
All right, thanks, Ivan.
All right, let's go out to the zoo. See what we're looking at with our flamingos. Again, good morning, San Antonio. Everybody is in the water, having a good time again. And it's 46 degrees outside, so I remember we were talking about this yesterday, if they get cold in the water or not. And it seems like as it gets colder, they just chill in there. So I wonder, maybe it doesn't affect their little legs.
It's like they're getting further and further away each time.
Yeah.
They used to be right up against the camera. Now they're just, there must be something to that.
We need to ask the zoo.
Yeah.
Sounds like a good story. We're going to get to the bottom of it. Flamingos and water and cold. What is it? It's been like a science experiment. Well, when it gets cold next week, we'll look in closer, see what they're doing. Let me show you the big picture here across the south. We got quite a bit of cloud cover in the Gulf of Mexico, but not much here around South Texas. Some thin high clouds working through. That's why we had that great sunrise this morning. And we'll see some off and on clouds today, but nothing of great significance. You look across the country, 20s and 30s, but it's not bitter cold, at least not yet. That cold air is still way up here in Canada, but it is going to sink south into the country, and you're going to start to see these numbers tumble as we get into the weekend. And as we get into, I'd say Monday especially here, we're going to see some really chilly temperatures across the state of Texas. Here's our forecast today, 59 noontime. We should make our way up to around 64 or so this afternoon, and then back down into the 50s tonight, but not, again, overly cold as we get into tomorrow morning. The weekend forecast, 60 on Saturday. So the weekend gets a little more dicey because we've got that front coming through, and it actually does come through early on Saturday. It's just that the cold air is going to lag behind it a little bit. So it'll be windy and kind of trending colder as we get into Saturday afternoon. And then by Sunday, even with full sun, we're only getting up to 46. It'll be windy, and that means we got wind chills in the 30s much of Sunday. So Sunday will be cold, even colder yet on Monday. And speaking of those winds, they're going to be quite gusty. So Saturday, Sunday, Monday, this yellow bar represents wind gusts, the green bar representing wind speed. But I do think we'll get gusts 25 to 30 as we get into Saturday and Sunday. And that Sunday gusty wind is going to make it feel so much colder. Even on Monday, though, with some gusts close to 30, it's going to feel chilly, especially Monday morning for the MLK March. We think wind chills will be in the 20s, 30 when the parade gets started, although we begin the day in the 20s. 34 at 11 a.m., 37 at 1 p.m., and that northerly wind 5 to 15, gusting to 20, though. Okay, Futurecast, and this is what we've really been kind of focusing on the last couple of days, right? Will we see any wintry precipitation? The models are backing off of that a little bit. Now, I will tell you, there's still a possibility there. It's going to be late Monday night into Tuesday morning that will have a little bit of moisture coming in, but the problem is there's not a lot of moisture to work with. If we see anything, it's going to be very light. And I think it's probably going to be in the form of rain or freezing rain, depending on the temperature. This particular model shows just a little bit going into Tuesday morning. And this model also wants to bring in more rain during the day on Tuesday, but we would be above freezing. I think there's still a lot of questions here, and I think that we need to get more data. By the way, as we get into the weekend, we'll get some more of these high-resolution models to look at this, and I think we'll get a better idea. But at the moment, the models are kind of flip-flopping on us, and they do that. They do that this far out, and this is where you get into some of those changes. So we don't want to have a knee-jerk reaction here, but I did take back those, pare down those rain chances a little bit Monday night into Tuesday. We'll call for a 20% chance right now. I just, because it's going to be light if we see anything. Then we got some small chances there Tuesday and Wednesday as well.
All right, so basically, moral to the story is bundle up next week.
That for
Stay
sure.
bundled.
It is going to be cold for several days. So yes, get ready.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
All right, thanks, Justin. All right, let's go over to SA Live. What are they doing? There's always food in front of them.
All the good food.
Oh yeah, and and when you get up in the morning and you may leave your fluffy pillow, you can still enjoy pancakes like that, right?
Yes, a fluffy, pillowy pancake, because today we are showing you Japanese-inspired souffle pancakes, okay? And it's part of this worldly travel question that we have coming up here in a little bit, but they are super fluffy and delicious. If you want to wash it down, Jada is out at a local coffee shop. And which one is it?
She's out on the northwest side, yeah.
Hey, Jada.
Yes, you guys. First of all, I'm smiling ear to ear. I feel like it's a serendipitous moment that I'm in this spot. And if you feel like snooping around to a new coffee shop for all of my Snoopy lovers from Charlie Brown, then I think I have found what might be the coziest coffee shop in San Antonio. And I cannot wait to tell you guys more about it. Back to you guys.
That looks so cute, Snoopy.
Yeah, Snoopy. And speaking of somebody snooping around, oh my gosh, Drew Glick, owner of Maxine Louis, New York
How are you? I was just reading my new newsletter. I haven't seen this edition yet, January, February, March, not
Look
bad.
at that, above the fold.
Yeah. Nice, that was a good one.
Okay, of course,
Thanks
you
for having
recently
me.
expanded with Melvin's, right?
Yes, Melvin's is our new homemade ice cream espresso bar and bakery. Jen Reisman is our baker that most people know in the city, and she's now working with us, which is amazing.
Look at those Rice Krispie treats! Wow.
We have unbelievable baristas, and so doing all the cappuccinos and lattes and affogatos with that homemade ice cream that we're making.
You're taking me back to when we were there live. It was amazing. Oh yes, tell us about this flavor.
So this particular flavor, it's called Mellomar. My father's favorite cookie. My father was Melvin. My father's favorite cookie was called a Malomar. So it's graham cracker marshmallows covered in chocolate ganache. So this ice cream is chocolate ice cream.
There's some in there.
Chocolate ice cream, graham crackers, and marshmallows in there, and it is.
Oh, it's for real. I totally thought it was a stunt ice cream.
I know. I'm like, no. It's in there.
There's no. You're the only stunt person in the facility here. So we got a pretty good show coming up today. I'll tell you.
Yes, we do. All right.
All right, we're about to wrap the show up. Right now, January, National Blood Donor Month, highlighting the importance of blood donations in the U.S. Someone needs blood every 2 seconds, and the simple act of donating can save up to 3 lives. You can join us during our Blood Donor Month by registering to donate blood, save lives, and support our community. The University Blood Bus will be at the Green Line Park in Brooks on January the 27th and 28th. Registration is required to donate, but we got all those details and more on our website at KSATcommunity.com.
And a heads up to anyone who lives or will be traveling near JBSA Camp Polis this week. You may see and smell some smoke, but it is okay because this is due to a prescribed burn. The base will have a controlled burn today through tomorrow as long as the weather conditions remain calm. The burns help get rid of dead vegetation and brush that could fuel a real wildfire.
Last check of our traffic out there. Again, we're still crash-free as we speak. Again, the same old stalled vehicles, that road debris we were telling you about earlier, I-10 Hildebrand. If you're looking at your screen right now, at I-10 and the Y, there was some type of construction happening in that area.
They're still working on that curve.
Yeah, so make sure you guys, pay attention when you're driving.
No matter how many times you tell me that, I still turn into that interstate and then I get stuck.
Oh, Lord.
I do too. Thankfully, it goes pretty quick. But they're working on the railing there. It looks like they're almost done. So hopefully that wraps up soon. All right, quick check of your forecast. So we are expecting temperatures to be up around 64 degrees today, 68 Friday. Some great weather next few days, but it turns windy and much cooler. Saturday, the front comes through, but the cold air really settles in Sunday. We'll get a freeze Sunday morning, a hard freeze Monday morning, and still some cold air as we get into the first part of the week, although our precipitation chance is coming down just a little bit. But stick with us. As I said, things can change. That's the latest thinking right now. Just a small chance there Monday night and Tuesday morning, and maybe Tuesday and Wednesday as well.
spending a lot of time indoors with this cold weather.
It will be cold, yes.
All right, thanks, Justin.
All right, let's go indoors down the hall with our friends over at SA Live, which starts right now.
Celebrating San Antonio with the city's #1 lifestyle and variety show. This is SA Live.
We are all about a thoughtful Thursday today, so we're putting the spotlight on Bird Bakery. Now through February 1st, you can purchase a cupcake for a cause.
And as we all know, the fires in California have caused a lot of people to lose their homes. So 100% of the proceeds of these cupcakes right here, the strawberry lemonade cupcake, will go to the Los Angeles Fire Department. San Antonio native and owner of Bird Bakery, Elizabeth Chambers, recently located to LA. So this is one way she's hoping the Alamo City can help her give back. And they are, of course, located right there on Broadway.
Yep.